Boys, we've got some information on College Football 25 X Factors. This is something I was severely worried about. How are they going to do that? Because X Factors abilities have taken over Madden, and I really do not want them taking over College Football 25. And it appears that's not going to be the case. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring our video today. Again, use code CC, sign up, get your first deposit matched up to $100. Help support me and the channel. Again, stay subscribed to the channel. We're going to be talking about everything that comes out. And I want to hit you guys quick and fast with this information. I don't really want a lot of your time. I really don't. So the biggest thing with X Factors is they will not exist. That's what EA is saying. They're not going to exist in the game. X Factors are obviously kind of an overpowering. It's an idea to make stars feel like stars, but it really just overpowers the game. We do not need that. Thankfully, that won't be there, but abilities will be there. Each player seems like they're going to be able to get certain abilities based on their archetype. Sounds kind of like old Madden, where archetypes actually used to matter. If you remember, now they don't. Everyone gets everything, but it's going to be limited. Something that they also said in here with these abilities, where they're going to get physical abilities, they're going to get mental abilities. Again, once we really get our hands on it, we'll see how that really truly is. But there's something in there, they say that just because someone gets an ability doesn't mean that it's going to always work. They've actually said that in the past about Madden, where things will be that way. So I don't really know how much I'm going to fully trust some of that stuff, because again, it's difficult. Abilities in this game should be made to help your stars feel a little bit better. But again, I am such a big proponent on making stats matter. In a college game where you're going to be dealing with 5-star, 4-star type players versus 1, 2-star, 3-star type players, there's obviously going to be a difference in there. It's going to be really hard. It is always going to be very difficult for EA to manage layering that in there, because if you play any of these games, you know, like, speed is really king. EA obviously wants to get you away from that, where there's a mention of just because you like their physical attributes, maybe the player won't play that well in a hostile atmosphere. Maybe, but there's only so much of a limit where that can go to. Is quarterbacks going to be missing passes just because they're on the road? Maybe. And again, that's kind of realistic, but in a video game setting, you don't want that to happen online. You don't. You want your button presses, your fingers, your eyes, your brain. You want all that to be the one making the decisions on wins and losses here. We'll see how that plays out. But again, until we actually touch that, take this all with a grain of salt. I know I am. EA says this. Well, this is the information that's out there. Cool. It sounds great. But man, I'm jaded. I'm jaded with how abilities have taken over football games. There's also mention of coaches having abilities as well. Again, how will that really play in there? EA used to have a home field advantage in Madden where it really seemed to matter, and it was kind of got too crazy and they basically had to detune it. I'm expecting something similar in an online play. An offline play, I think that stuff is even better to have in there. However, online, that's where I think they're going to come into balancing issues with the game. Obviously, a coach having an ability, he can give yourself, as they say, situational boosts. What is a situational boost? Is it +3 catch in traffic? I tell you what, that really doesn't overly matter. A lot of it may sound good on paper, but the execution is where we're going to have to really see. And we won't really know. And people will come out and they will say that, no, it's just the way it is. But until we get our hands on the game, just like every year with Madden in those last 11 years, we know the words before the game don't always match up with how the game is. So please keep that in mind. Keep all of that in mind, and do not jump off one way to the left or one way to the right thinking about any of this. It's great to see that they're not doing some of this stuff. However, balancing is always going to be the biggest issue here. One thing too, again, with the game being only on the new consoles, not the old consoles, if you played Madden 24, you notice that there were abilities which didn't exist in old gens and they existed only in new gens. So we won't have that issue. Again, some of the people on old consoles, I'm not going to apologize. It's not me. The consoles have been out for years, but hopefully that allows them to do a little more things. Again, the types of abilities that you can expect, I would look into Madden 24 and see the same sort of things. There's only so much you can do to turn someone into a temporary superhero in the game. However, we will see it once we get our hands on it. Again, I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Stay tuned for more information as we get more of that. And I'll be back. Love you guys. I'm out. Peace.